For quite a few years now, early access games have given off a pretty bad vibe when I suggest them to any friends. Too many times we've just been straight up fucking doinked around basically by game companies who show us amazing looking games and great experiences but don't deliver after years of us already buying the game. That's why when I saw this game Craftopia be released on Steam, I was both interested and skeptical. What really got me though? The game said, if I liked Kenshi, I'd like this game. If this is anything like Kenshi, or if a lot of people that play Kenshi are playing this, I should probably get into it. If I had to compare this game to other games, I would say it has the open world and RPG sort of aspects and elements of Breath of the Wild, while also having the crafting and progression system of something like Minecraft. So, beginning the adventure, we create a character. I did want to make Harold into the game, but I just wanted to try and make like a nice innocent anime waifu girl. And even when making the female body type, you can still make a face that resembles one of Harold's, so I couldn't go through with it. I couldn't look at that for my entire fucking playthrough. Alright, we're gonna keep Harold out of this world. We're gonna bring Croc in. Now, you can play as one character on different worlds that all have different islands and stuff like that. And once getting into our first world, we start by talking to some divine force or higher power. Basically just tell Croc, yeah, you ruined humankind. You fucked up, dude. We used all of Earth's resources to craft some of the most high-tech fleshlights, and through that, we ended up thinning the ozone layer, essentially something like that. But we're given another chance to make it all up, so that's good. We're gonna jump into this new world, and right away, we're brought onto a dock. There's a bunch of different townspeople here, but they're more or less just the tutorial people. They tell you what to do, and just some basic things in the game. Now, the island is full of different things. We got wood, we got different type of ores, we got different types of animals, different types of monsters. And while the game is an open world, just you do whatever you want kind of thing, it does have some quests of a top right corner, which really did help me out, at least, to get a little bit of a progression sense or an idea of what exactly I should do. As we're doing things like getting materials and killing animals, we're getting experience, and this is leveling up Crockett. We also have a skill and whole like skill point system in the game with different tiers and just a whole fuck ton to get into. Now I start to figure out there's a lot of different ores that we can get by using different types of pickaxes. You start out with copper, and then you work your way up through the different types of ores. We have some monsters on this island, but they're these little blue ball things that just kind of hop around and stuff. They do 1 damage to you, so they're not too much of a threat, as well as when you hit them, they go flying, like they go far. When I first saw this, I thought of, I need to get to a point of the late game where I set up a whole mini-game field of these blue bastards and then just get a bunch of pickaxes with some friends. See who can send the blue bastard the farthest. But then I quickly realized that's like the opposite reason of why the guy just sent us to the island. He wants us to try and like make up for humanity's fault, so right away I'm gonna be fucking about trying to send these blue bastards to hell. We have a few sort of like crafting stations in this game as well. Stuff like the stone furnace you use to smelt all of your ores into iron. I'm not even gonna fucking say that word. We have a crafting table, essentially, just craft all your stuff there. Now I'm mainly focused on the tasks the game were giving me at the time, just so I could learn the different parts of the game and learn how to do different things. I feel like the game does this very well. A lot of open world games, their tutorials can seem like a fucking bore or a drag. You just want to get to the game. It really is just you doing the game while learning it. So plus 69 points from Croc on that one. Once we unlock the Altar of Civilization, this is when we're able to go forth into the next age. The next age allows us to create new items, get new things. Basically, it just allows us to progress through the game and get better. Now, once we were exploring the island, Crockett eventually found a dungeon. This place is where you go in and there's a bunch of your monsters, or sort of like a challenge that you have to do. I couldn't do it the first time. I tried to with just a torch, and what ended up happening is Crockett would stab and set the enemy on fire, and on turn just set herself on fire until she died. So every time we would die, we lose 10% of our gold, and this would happen a couple dozen times in like my 10 hours of playing. Now, the fun factor in this game, I say, really lies with what you want to do and accomplish in it. It's a lot like a lot of other open world games. What I want to do and what I find fun might not be the same as what you want to do and find fun. Myself, I really like doing a lot of the mining and progressing in that as fast as possible. I also enjoyed the fishing mechanic they had in the game, as well as the dungeons and all the combat stuff and exploring. Even things like growing crops, a little like Harvest Moon type vibe to it, is really nice. You start out by getting buckets of water and having to go to the water and get it yourself and then bring it back to the crops. Then you build a well, so then you can get the water from the well. And then you get all the way up to just a sprinkler system, so you can water 4 crops at once. This also leads to everything in the game being able to basically be automated in some type of way, or that's the game's type of goal. And so far from playing the game myself, I do have to say this type of progression and getting from doing everything manually to automation, which doesn't take too long, maybe like 7 hours for me, that in general just was really nice. Now if you get tired of a small island with a fucking god in the sky that literally rains cows sometimes, well, you can always move to a different island. This means that these islands will have enemies at them, but it allows you to get a lot of different things like higher tier ores, more dungeons, just more monsters, more experience, all that. You first need to build a teleportation gate. This is pretty easy, and then you just have to spend a little bit of materials in order to unlock the new spot to travel to. Then you can go there, do whatever you want, go back, stay there, it's up to you. These other islands are also inhabited by a lot of different animals. One of the islands I actually finally found a crocodile at, and seeing as this game has like a Pokemon feature as well into it where you can capture monsters, I tried to get up to the crocodile to see if it was friendly, and I thought it was friendly, and then it wasn't. I got fucked up. The game is pretty hard though, honestly. If you don't spec into stuff like skills, or you don't really figure out the game mechanics like I do that fast, you might have some trouble with some of the things in the game. Luckily though, because of how the experience works in the game, you can just say, get stronger, and then go back to an area once you're over leveled. I did this with a first dungeon, and once I was able to actually go through as a high level and one shot pick off every single enemy in there with a bow and arrow, it felt nice as fuck. At the end of the first dungeon, you end up meeting the first boss of the game. For this case, it was a stone monster, which was actually pretty cool. He has a glowing chest thing where that's his weakness, obviously, and you have to try and attack that when it's vulnerable. Now it's pretty hard, and if you're not using all of your abilities or trying your very best, you can actually get pretty fucked up by his laser beams. Using the pillars, you can get behind those and then get back out and then attack him, and I did this essentially until I was able to defeat the boss. Now your reward for taking down the stone bastard is none other than a slate and then 5 chests with some different type of loot in them. The slates, you go back to that Sky Island god, and once you have 4 of those, you can turn those in for stuff like a health increase or other upgrades. And with this, it basically leaves me or any player in this situation with just their own quest of, okay, so what am I going to do in the game? So I did want to do one cool thing, if I was setting up an automatic sheep farm, or at least trying to. I didn't set up the best of best sheep farms that this game has to offer, but I think this one would make do for now. I'm able to essentially get meat and wool from sheeps without having to do a thing. All you gotta do is capture 2 sheeps and then put them in, and then they start breeding and then pile up over. All in all, for an early access title, I think Craftopia is fire as fuck. It has a lot to offer, honestly, and is definitely worth checking out. The game is definitely gonna have some changes, so everything might not be the same in a few months or a few years down the line. Like I said, if you enjoy the gameplay elements of something like Breath of the Wild and something like Minecraft, you're definitely going to really enjoy Craftopia, and there's a lot that you can really do with it. Even though the game's in early access, it's been getting updates just about every day. Almost every day there's a new update on the game, either bug fixes or just adding a few little things in. So at least the developers have been really active on it. Now, the question that you guys are all asking yourselves, Croc, is this game worth it? For basically the price of like 4 BJs, yeah, I would say this game is worth it. I give it a good 5 waifu wenches out of 5. I mean, I really got not too many complaints with the game. It's in early access, so I ran into my fair share of bugs and shit and just weird shit happening. If you're looking for a unique both single player and multiplayer game that you can play with your friends that offers a unique type of progression system and a lot to do in it, definitely check out Craftopia. It's fire as fuck. Do let me know if you guys have played this game, what your opinions on it are in the comments section below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it if you do. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.